Do not miss today's video if you are looking at moving to Utah and you want to live in a top-rated school district, because today I am covering not just the top 5 public high schools in Utah, according to niche.com, but I'm also going to talk more about the neighborhoods and the houses and prices within those boundaries. Now, it does not include private schools or charter schools, because some people, they either don't want to pay tuition, or they don't have the means to pay tuition, or they don't want to have to mess with the lottery system of a charter school. So these are public high schools that if you move within their boundaries, that is the high school that your children would attend, or if you're multi-generational and have other kids living with you, anything like that, these are those school districts. So before I jump into the list, I do want to say this is for informational purposes only. Understand that school boundaries change, and so you do not want to take this as the end all be all. You always want to verify if a school district is important to you or school boundaries are important to you when purchasing a home in Utah. You want to make sure you do your due diligence and make sure that the house you're looking at is still within the boundaries that you're looking for. So these are the school boundaries according to the district websites in January of 2025. And I will be putting maps up on throughout this video so you can see what those boundaries are as of right now, January of 2025. So stay tuned. So the first school that I'm going to highlight at the top of the public school list is Skyline High School in the east part of Salt Lake City. And that school, if you're not familiar with the boundaries, and you can see it here on the map that I'm going to put up, it's that east part of Salt Lake, so kind of the Holiday, Olympus Cove, Mill Creek areas, parts of Salt Lake City, from Interstate 80 south to the 215, kind of over in that East Bench area. Now, the interesting thing with this boundary is, as of January 2025, even parts of Immigration Canyon are in this boundary area. So the homes in the Skyline area, most of them, or a good portion of them, I should say, are built in the 1940s to about the 1960s. Now, of course, just like any neighborhood, there are other eras of homes. You know, you might find some in the 80s. You might even find new construction in these areas, but the majority of homes that are actively listed are in the 40s to the 60s. Now, you'll see a lot of homes in this area that either don't have garages and they only have carport, or a lot of one-car garages. And again, that just goes back to the era of the homes and when they were built. Garages weren't really a thing. So this whole east part of Salt Lake City in the Skyline boundaries, it's a really desirable area. So it is a hot spot for investors and flippers to purchase these older homes. I actually have done one in Olympus Cove myself. Maybe the people inherited the house and they're really outdated, so flippers will come in and remodel them and get them kind of to what most buyers are looking for in today's day and age. So this is a neighborhood that you don't want to discount older homes. I talk to a lot of buyers who are like, oh, I only want a house that is no more than 5 years old. If you are that buyer, this may not be the neighborhood for you if you're stuck on the age of the home. But I say don't discount it because of the flippers. A lot of things are updated. I know on the Olympus Cove flip that we did, which if you haven't seen that video, it's great. I mean, we did all new plumbing, all new electrical. So some of these flippers go in there and it's basically like a brand new house. However, it still has the date in the 50s. Now, what makes this neighborhood so popular with people wanting to move in there is not just because of the schools, but also it is very conveniently located. You can get to downtown Salt Lake City, the University of Utah, in maybe 15 minutes, depending on which part of the city you're in, or not city, but which part of the boundaries you're in. You're of course close to the mountains for skiing, mountain biking, hiking, trails, all of that. You can jump on Interstate 80 and you can quickly be up in Park City. So it's just a really nice established neighborhood neighborhood. One of the things that I love about this neighborhood and driving through it, as weird as it sounds, it is an established neighborhood. So the trees are mature. There's lots of like bird chirping and squirrels running around. And now I know not everybody loves that. I personally do. So that is one of the reasons why I love this neighborhood. So the second public high school on the list is Corner Canyon High School, which is in the Canyon School District, and that is located in Draper. Now, the important thing to know with Corner Canyon is it's a big school, and don't be under the misconception that, oh, the address is in Draper, so it's Corner Canyon. That's not actually the case. There are specific boundaries in Draper that are Corner Canyon, and there are parts of Draper boundaries that are actually go to another high school, which is Alta High School. So you want to be familiar with these boundaries if you're trying to get into Corner Canyon. So Draper has a really large mix of homes. And I remember when I moved here in 2002, somebody said, hey, why don't you move to Draper? And I was like, where is Draper? I've never even heard of it. And I passed by Draper at least once a week, and I didn't even know it was here. So you have a lot of old farm fields here, and those are getting bought up and developed into new construction, big homes. So you will see a mix of all different style homes here in Draper. You see a lot of them built in the 90s and early 2000s. But like I said, I mean, you have the old farm fields with houses in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s even, and then all the way up to these new construction mansions, I would say. To give you an idea for home prices, again, not filtered based on what type of home, the active listings range anywhere from $339,000 up to about $5 million in Draper as a whole. And the average sales price, just so you know, for Draper was just over $1 million in December of 2024. So because Draper is so different, there's all different neighborhoods that you're going to find here. So like I kind of talked about with Skyline, with the mature trees and things like that, you don't necessarily really find that here in Draper, but you can find horse properties because of the old farm fields and grandfathered in. The interesting thing with Draper is most of the city, and you will want to check this and verify it for yourself, you can have chickens here, even in a single family home neighborhood. Now, if you have an HOA, that might be a little bit different. So Draper is still pretty friendly to, I'll say, farm style animals, even in the newer homes that were built in the early 2000s and newer. So one of the things that's fantastic about living in Draper is not just that, but it's grown so much in the last 20 years. So you have a lot of shopping, you have a lot of restaurants, parks, trails. So you can do a lot of mountain biking in Draper. There's just a wide variety of things to do. And you're really not that far from skiing, even being in Draper. And you are close to the Silicon Slope. So if you commute for work, you can easily get down to Lehigh and kind of those tech hub areas. But you can also easily get downtown, depending on traffic. You know, downtown, you're maybe about 30 minutes, give or take, depending on weather and snow and things like that. So I say this with caution, but Corner Canyon is not just known for their good academic programs. They're also known for their sports and extracurricular programs. Now, just like anything, sports and the talent pool, they kind of ebb and flow, so they can vary. If you're looking at moving into the Corner Canyon boundaries for sports, I would highly suggest, depending on when you're watching this video and what sport you're participating in, that you check and see if it's a good fit for you. Now, with the sports, like I said, check it out. Not every sport is created equal. There is a lot of controversy around athletics at Corner Canyon, which I'm not going to get into. I personally volunteer for the boys lacrosse team. I dedicate hundreds of hours every season to boys lacrosse, so I'm very familiar with the lacrosse team. So if you do have questions about the sports program, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you any way that I can. Third third on the list for public high schools is West High School in Salt Lake City. Now, kind of like Skyline, this is a wide variety of a neighborhood that West High School would be a part of. So you'll see here on the map, West High School is that north part of Salt Lake City, kind of between North Salt Lake and Bountiful, south to about South Temple downtown area. And it encompasses both the east side of Interstate 15 and the west side of Interstate 15. So because of that, you have a huge range, probably more so than any other school I'm going to cover or neighborhood I'm going to cover. You have a very wide range of different style homes, different prices of homes, and different neighborhoods. So because there is such a wide range, I can't really tell you what type of home you're going to find the most, because West High School encompasses Rose Park. It goes all the way over to north of the University of Utah, part of the avenue. So you can easily find homes in the early 1900s of the avenues, even the late 1800s, all the way up to new construction. Now, with West High School, you do have even trailer park that you can find homes in that start around $70,000 to purchase. And this particular West High School boundary goes all the way up to almost $12 million. So I'm going to show you some of the different areas of both the west side of Interstate 15 and that kind of Rose Park area, all the way over to just above the University of Utah, so you can see the different style homes. But I've covered a lot of the avenues and areas like that, so you can also reference those videos for more detailed information. However, I think it's pretty obvious to most people, knowing that this is downtown area, why people love this school boundaries. You are right there next to the University of Utah. Like I said, you're there in downtown, City Creek. Obviously, if you work downtown, this is going to be a very convenient location. You're maybe 10 minutes to Salt Lake International Airport, the Hogle Zoo. I mean, there is just so much to do in the downtown area, but you also still have trails for walking and biking, quite like what you're going to have in Skyline or Draper, but you do still have them. So next on the list, and honestly, this was kind of a surprise to me that it was ranked number 4 for public schools, but we're talking about Park City High School up in Summit County. Now, most people know Park City, whether you live here or not, so probably doesn't need a huge introduction or a lot of detail about this neighborhood. So since we're talking about Park City High School boundaries, I do want to mention that you want to check any school that you're looking into, because some boundaries are open where you can get a permit even though you don't live in the boundary, and some are not. At the time of this recording, the Summit School District said that Park City is closed boundaries, so you cannot get a permit. If you don't live in Park City boundaries, you cannot go to Park City High School according to their website. So just throwing that out there to always check, and don't count on a school boundary being open for you to get an exception or a permit to go outside of your boundaries. And Park City High School is a perfect example of it. Like I said, I was a little surprised that they were ranked number 4 for public schools in the state. Park City's always been known as one of the best for as long as I can remember. So I think they're pretty strict about getting in or out based on the boundaries that you live in. So just like Draper, Park City, it's not all encompassing. Just because you live in Park City doesn't mean you go to Park City High School. Most people do know Park City pretty well. It is known to be an expensive neighborhood. You're going to have all kinds of different homes, all different styles. To give you an idea for active listings, like you can find a studio right now for about $230,000, and then your HOA fees on top of it. And listings in Park City go all the way up to $50 million. So literally the the biggest range of home prices that you can find. But I think it's safe to say that most people like 3+ bedrooms, whether that's because they just want an extra room for an office or 2 extra rooms. So when looking at a 3+ bedroom property, whether that's a condo or a single family home, homes right now in Park City, they start at about $550,000 if you want 3+ bedrooms. So why do people move to Park City? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious why people love Park City. You're right there at the ski resorts. However, there's a lot of appeal in Park City in the sense that you get above the inversion that is known in the Wasatch Front. You don't really have that up in Park City because you're at such a higher elevation. You also have really nice neighborhoods that are gated communities, which is appealing to some people that they want to live in a gated neighborhood. And Park City is known for wildlife. I mean, it is beautiful up in Park City, tons of wildlife. You really have to be careful driving around in Park City and driving fast on the roads or the freeways. Like, we have bridges in Park City that are designated over Interstate 80 just for wildlife to cross safely, because you will have moose, lots of moose up there, lots of elk. If you haven't seen one in person, it's like a horse. They're huge and they will do a lot of damage. You have all kinds of wildlife roaming in Park City. And I feel like Park City is really an artistic community. I mean, there's a lot of artistic communities. You know, downtown, of course, you can always find artistic things, but I think Park City kind of leads it for this area. You have the Sundance Film Festival every year. You have all kinds of markets in the summertime where they have young artistic people selling things, adults selling things that are artistic. It's just a really nice outdoor vibe. You have breweries up in Park City. I mean, it's a lifestyle in Park City. And number 5 on the list is Timpanogos High School in Orem, and that is part of the Alpine School District. Now, Orem is one of the areas, it is close to BYU, it is close to UVU College, it's close to Utah Lake. It definitely has a more established neighborhood, but there's also a ton of new construction going on too. And I feel like I'm saying that everywhere, but you do see a lot of homes built in the 70s up to the 90s. And then, like I said, even new construction, kind of that wide range of homes. And you do have trailer parks in Orem, and you can find a property in a trailer park for about $100,000 to purchase. That doesn't include, you know, the lot, monthly, basically lot premium that you would have to pay in a trailer park. And then right now, homes in this school district boundary of Timpanogos High School goes all the way up to $4.99 million. So I kind of mentioned some of the things that you find in the Orem area, but you also are close to some of the mountains. You can easily get up the canyon, the backside of the canyon, to go up to Heber City and Park City and the reservoirs up there. You know, you're probably 30 minutes going up there towards Heber City from Orem. You have Timpanogos Cave, which has tons of, like, people will go up there to go camping up in the canyon. They'll go up there for hiking the cave, tons of activities. One of my favorite is Tibble Fort up the canyon, and that's where you can go paddle boarding and things like that. It's really cold, and so you want to go like in August when you have the best chance of somewhat decently warm water. But people will bring their dogs up there into Tibble Fork because they can swim in the water, and you can have your pets up in that area, which in the Wasatch Front area, that is kind of unique. And I will mention, because Big Cottonwood and Little Cottonwood Canyon in Salt Lake City, those are watersheds. So you actually cannot go hiking with your dogs up there. If you're over in the Olympus Cove neighborhood, there are some canyons you can go up there. Salt Lake City, you can go take your dogs. But as far as big canyons where like skiing and stuff takes place, you can't have dogs in Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon. But again, in the summertime, it's nice to take your dogs the Alpine Loop area of Tibble Fork and go take your dog for a swim and things. So I hope you found the video today helpful and a little bit more about the neighborhoods. If you have questions about the neighborhoods, I'd love to connect with you. If you're looking at making a move to to Utah, let's connect. You can call me or text me. That's the best way to reach me. If you have any real estate related questions, I'd love to hear from you. But as always, make it a great day.